Well, good afternoon, everybody. Uh, we want to have another little video with you talking about the whole, J1 visa waiver process and immigration process and things like that, because it's important, especially with the, current administration. He's cracking down on the illegal immigration. And that's the point that I want to try to make. Notice the key word there was illegal immigration. Okay, the people sliding across the border without the proper documentation, without the proper papers, trying to get stuff for free and mooch off the system. Okay, you as a J1 teacher are not doing that. You are doing it the proper way. You're coming in through the door in the wall, as it were.
Yes.
You are going through the process, filling out the appropriate documents, waiting the appropriate amount of time. You are also fulfilling your obligation by giving them all the evidence that they need. You have to understand there is a large group of people out there who despise the current administration and they want to do everything they can to smear him and make him look bad. Okay, so they're going to paint this picture like he's out there patrolling the streets with a big baton in his hand, ready to just send everybody who's an immigrant back to where they came from, and that's not the case. If you're doing the process, you are safe. If you are staying on status, you are safe. If you have achieved a green card, you are safe. As long as you are not overstaying, you're welcome with that, because there is a limit on that green card. It's 10 years, okay? You have to become a citizen before the 10-year mark. My wife has plans on doing hers at the 3-year mark because that's actually the preferred point. They want you to begin that process.
Exactly.
Okay.
And in this process of mine, I came here as a J1 visa
Mm-hmm.
holder through a teacher exchange cultural program, and that needs to have a waiver. And this channel is really dedicated for those who are seeking for that route,
That's right.
especially if you are married to your U.S. citizen spouse. And we are not anti last year or the other year's administration or this year's administration. No, we are just telling the facts.
Right.
And the facts would say that even though last year's administration, I had my papers with them, but we still wait almost 2 years for the process. And even though there's an immigration crackdown now, it's still the same. You still have to follow the legalities in that matter. And for some people that are giving fear about getting your green card or it's getting more strict now, yes, it is because
Yeah.
they wanted to make sure that your relationship with your U.S. citizen spouse is legit.
Correct. See, you have to understand something. Some of your fellow countrymen who came before you, they were abusing the system, and that's why they have all these new laws and crackdowns in place. My wife and I, when we were processing ours, we were very confident that it was going to be approved because why? Everything we gave them was legitimate. Uh, every piece of evidence we gave them was real. It was verifiable. Um, the things that they really couldn't quite verify, we just gave them compelling proof that it was legitimate. Photographs, letters from friends and family, and
Yes.
clergy, everything.
And that is through the request for evidence they have. So
Right.
we filed for the Form I-485, and then we also filed for the Form I-612,
Right.
and they're asking for requests for evidence, which means they're looking for proofs about our exceptional hardship. And then with the Form I-485, they're asking if what should be my evidences to show that we are really real couple and not just having a waiver, but what it is for the length of our relationship. What should be the evidences that we could show them? So, with the request for evidence, we show them first with the Form I-485 that we have our marriage certificate, we have his birth certificate as he is really a U.S. citizen, my birth certificate, I have my passport, my Form I-95, we have letters from friends and family that are here in the U.S. that is showing that both of us are really having this relationship and not just for the mere fact that I have to marry him just to stay here. Because during the time, I'm still having my extension for my DS 2019, and my visa is still current. So
right.
that's the thing. You need to be current with your visa and do not overstay your visa.
Yeah.
With your Form I-612, what we're showing there is, because we are wanting to submit for the J1 Waiver Exceptional Hardship to my US citizen spouse. So I have my affidavit of support.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have my affidavit of statement. He
Right.
has his affidavit of
Affidavit of support.
statement and support.
Right.
And then he also has letters from his family, especially from his dad.
Yep.
And then we have letters from his coworker, letters from my family's side, which are like Filipinos who became my family here in the US, and they are green card holders. They also had letters for us. So if you wanted to see those letters, like templates, go to
Yeah.
powerfulcouplejourney.com, because we showcase all of our evidences there. It's very confidential, but because we love you guys, we do really wanted to show you how we did it in the right way
Mm-hmm.
and through do-it-yourself process. We don't have any lawyers, but
Right.
prior to doing this, we really consulted a lawyer. He wants to have some money to have that for an hour consultation, but we just got an answer of, oh, it's not going to work, it's not going to work in your favor. So what we did was we really make sure we read all the process, and then we filed it right. So with the request for evidence, it's not to really give you that fear like, oh my gosh, because some J1 teachers, they are having fear why they got the request for evidence. I said, you should be thankful that you got the request for evidence, because it's showing that the adjudicating officer is reading your case.
That's right. See, that is how what they're doing is they're just asking you when you get that request for evidence. It's not, all right, we're going to screw you to the wall now. No, it's not what it is. It's, okay, we're intrigued with what you sent us. We're compelled to believe it's all true. Would you, qualify and quantify this for us by sending us extra evidence of your coupleship? And then you do. And then they review everything. They compare notes between their two departments. And yes, it takes a long time because the government is slow. But you know what? When you come out the other side, it's worth the wait.
Exactly. So the request for evidence is really to show you guys that it is real, your case is real. If you work with a lawyer, work with the legalities, follow their lead. Because some of you are asking me, like, I'm not confident with my lawyer. No, you should be confident with your lawyer. You sign for the form or G28. That is tied to your lawyer. So with us, we're just giving you ideas as a married couple who did through the process of the J1 waiver with the immigration. And again, the request for evidence is there to give you ideas that it is done in a way that they're reading your papers. And the request for evidence would be initial. They're going to say request for initial evidence is the same with the request for evidence or RFE. Now, once you file your papers, make sure that you have the tabs, all those important details, and make a copy for yourself, because you might need that one for your Form I-130 for the interview of the petition, because they really wanted to interview everyone who got married to their U.S. citizen spouse now. They need that.
They do. And here's the thing. If you get a request for an interview, also a good thing. That's their way of saying, hey, I want to meet you in person. I want to see what you got. And, there's a long time between when you do this initial file and when you go finally have your interview. I mean, for us, it was almost a 2-year time period.
Yes.
So during that period of time, guess what's happening? You are accumulating fresh new evidence. And when you go to your interview, like we did with our lady, we brought all this new evidence. At that point, we owned a house. We had more investments. We had more joint activity together. We had, I had done my last will and testament, and I made her the sole beneficiary, and my brother was the contingent beneficiary in case her and I perished at the same time. And the lady looked at all this, and she's like, this is great. And she just approved it right then and there. Not even an argument. Okay.
So we got approved on the spot with the Form I-130. Now, we have covered everything when it comes to the J1 waiver. We have a playlist that you can see, you can watch. Just play it in the background if you want to. We're just here to help. Again, the powerfulcouplejourney.com is a website that we have, not just to support the website, but of course to support the mountain pastors that are really showcasing, telling the gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ. And that's where the money goes. And we are really so thankful that God has blessed us so much here in America. And that's our way of giving back. And if you came part of this part of the video, please consider to like, share, subscribe, and click that notification bell. That way we could create more videos that will give you ideas. So thank you so much and see you in the next video.